What's up, y'all? It's Rob back here to guide you through another cultural phenomenon with the hopes to empower you to embrace all aspects of you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, today I want to guide us through a difficult, nuanced subject that will always have something to talk about. It'll always can be better, worse, but where it's at right now is ridiculous, and that is dating. Dating, at least in America. Now, before I get into any of the things, the essence of dating is you putting yourself out there. It's an aspect to go from a singular point to a coupled point, being able to see if this person is a match. So, dating in itself and being able to go on a date, if you ever secure one, you gotta give yourself a pat on the back. That's a skill these days. Dating in itself is such a hard thing. You're putting yourself out there with hopes to hopefully find a connection with someone, and asking you to go on a date, being on a date is a very nerve-wracking thing for both parties, especially if you consent and ask to go through. So if you've made it onto the date, that's half the battle. Now, the reason why I want to talk about today is currently dating right now has got a little interesting. And what I mean interesting is, you know, there's a lot of additional pressure that's placed on the dating process that doesn't need to, when you're just really trying to figure out if this is your match. And sometimes when you're trying to figure out if this person is for you, you actually have to be even more open than you thought. Meaning those boundaries you set for yourself, for your standards, they have to be firm, but they also have to be fluid. So dating in so many ways should be like water. You gotta be able to be adaptable, move with the waves, move with the grooves, and actually make space for places that you never thought that could, new territory. So I think it's appropriate for us to like really break down why we're in this like big singledom when it comes to dating right now per Google. And I'll have some of these stats up as we go. 46 to 48% of Americans between like right now, between 2005 2006, of our populace is single, and that is never married, divorced, and widowed, all in there. And I'll just say that's about like over half. That's a big chunk to have that many people single and just maybe not even mingling, but like that's just like a large percent. I think we deal with this singledom culture due to these five areas, and these five areas would be dating app culture, hyper independent, delayed milestones, economic factors, and just really high standards. Now, I could maybe in another video break all those down of why those are very important, but I'll just even look at we take a couple of these. And a couple of these that we can kind of take is dating app culture. Dating app culture is an aspect of like, yeah, how are you on the dating apps? Meaning it's more easier to find people, but it's how we're using the dating apps to really, date with intentions to meet the person or meet the people that we want to be with. Now, a next thing is, which I think is a pretty big thing too, is delayed milestones. Delayed milestones could be career. They could be a thought of like maybe I should be owning a house, or a lot of different things. And I think when we get in our mindset of these delayed milestones we have to reach before we can like settle down and find something, it really, can like really harm us to like really sitting with a person and seeing if they can be a part of the journey, or really tricking ourselves to think if we don't have time to like really find that. And then obviously, which I will kind of get into a little bit more, is like the higher standards. Now, high standards doesn't mean that you have a low barrier of entry. I always say boundaries are about understanding what you need, but a boundary doesn't mean you build a wall. You move and reassert boundaries for people if they show worthiness, if they show potential, or if they show the ability to try to meet you where you're at. Now, I know y'all can roast me on all those different things, but I think those are 5 areas that we have to have better flexibility in because, you know, and heck, I've pretty much said all of them pretty much in a nutshell. Increase independence. Like, we're gonna rely on someone to do all the stuff I'm doing here. I even though I'm by myself, I have a team. I can't do all the stuff by myself. But how the structure of our society is built is those 5 areas are always dinged to make us think that we're much further away than we are to each other. And I feel like we're more closer than we are. Now, the only reason why I brought up those things is to kind of like bring us to the point of I know a lot of people say there's piss in the dating pool or there's not enough good matches. Now, do I think that they're right? But I also think two things can be true at the same time. Just as much as we currently right now don't have or lack the faith in our current dating structure and system, people are still they still believe in love. Now, this comes from a per Forbes article that I want to bring up. And I'm actually going to be on the notes with this one. Per Forbes, people still believe 73% in this study they did in Forbes, they believe romantic love is still there. 73%. 69 people still believe in that they're going to find someone. And then 51% of people still believe in the perfect match. Now, these numbers are just like very interesting. 70%, 69%, and 51%. If we like smush them all together, right? People still believe in love. They believe that they're destined to find someone. They believe that they're going to, and they have high hopes. But why does that not reflect in our actions? I think that doesn't reflect in our actions is because we don't want to get hurt. We don't want to put ourselves out there, which brings us to dating with intention. Dating with intention is such a hard thing to do because dating with intention doesn't mean you're always going to win or you're going to have a roster. Dating with intention is dating with the standards of I'm trying to put myself out there and I understand I may get hurt. We are so quick to match energy when it's negative, but we're not as quick to match energy when it's positive. So let that sit there with you for a second because we're so quick to say this sucks or this isn't good. And we pick on the things that don't work well when we have the ability to really pick out the things that are working. And that also when it comes to dating. Purposeful dating will lead you more quickly to your partner that you're destined with or partners. Now, I say partners because, you know, there's multiple opportunities to meet people that you potentially match with, but I don't think you're maximizing your dating opportunities because you're being held back by those 5 pillars I once mentioned because there is like, oh, this person economically doesn't work with me, or this person is too independent, or this person is too focused in on a missed milestone where you actually miss out on the opportunity on really meeting that person for who they are on these dates. If you made it this far in the video and you're still intrigued, this next part is only for the people who honestly want to improve their dating. They want to improve themselves. They really want to maximize their next dating opportunity. So remember, if we're maximizing, we understand that every date's not going to lead to the one. We're actually going to give people a little bit more opportunities than we once thought. Our boundaries won't be so firm, right? They're gonna be somewhat flexible. We're gonna try to meet as many people where they're at. So I call this the 3-date rule. So if you don't have a roster, you should, I would say maybe have 1 to 2 people that you are really considering. And then in this 3-date rule that you should have a high stake, low stake, and a chill stake. Meaning you're going to give this person 3 dates. 3 dates. And in these 3 dates, you should have a high stakes, low stakes, chill stakes, because you actually get opportunity to really see someone in their elements. Because let's just talk about first dates are pressure, big pressure. You want to make a huge, impression. And sometimes, being able to, get off work, take that time away to like really meet someone, it can be nerve wracking. So I think to take the pressure off what's going on, I think both people should take the first date as an opportunity to see like, all right, let me just get to know them with, as best expectations as possible. Let me be as vulnerable as possible. Meaning, I definitely think the very first date should be really low stakes. Don't roast me. Don't roast me. The reason why I'm saying it's low stakes, it's, on test day, just go back when their teacher was testing you. It's that bum, 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 bum. Some people crumble under pressure. Some people rise. And let's just say, when you're under pressure, that is a aspect of you, but that's not the real you. Meaning, a very first date should be low stakes so you can really just like breed some comfortability with each other. Now, when I say low stakes, that doesn't mean that I'm trying to say cheap out or don't try to impress, but like really try to make an effort to connect with someone on an intellectual level and show some seeds of intention. And when I say seeds of intention, it's like really thoughtfulness of creating a date, thoughtfulness of like, hey, I'm really wanting to understand who you are, because when you create that bond, you create relationship, you create that rapport where like, all right, we have this low stake type of a deal, but also at the same time, I feel like I'm getting to know that person. And when you feel like you're getting to know that person, you open up. You're opening up to people's quirkiness, different, like interesting, curious questions. So we'll start there with that. Next, date 2. Okay, date 2. That's gotta be a high stakes date. The reason why I say date 2 has to be a high stakes date is because you kept things chill on the first date. The second date, you gotta really lead with that intention of, okay, I have a safety net. I can fall, I can stumble, I can say something off the wall and they're not just going to totally write me off. The second date's got to be more of, this is what I want. I will also say maybe like that a high stake date is, an active date, something where you kind of see where that's that big dinner where you kind of show even more of your intentions of where you're at, meaning my intentions of like, hey, I'm dating to marry. I'm dating to to get off the market. Like I'm really trying to find my person. And whether that's marriage or just like being super upfront, I think it's important to like have that high stake date the second time because that rapport keeps building. So that's date 1, date 2. The rapport is building up like a volcano where we'll usher ourselves into the third date. But date 2, the high stakes is that's when you even connect even more deeply with that person because you're showing your intention. So I can maybe I might do a video and breaking this down a little bit further, but let's get into the last one or the third one. The third date that you've met someone should always be chill. And what I mean always be chill is like by this time you should have an idea of this person. You should you both should already know where it's going, where you want it to go, and being able to have that conversation. And when I mean have that conversation that, hey, this has the potential for 3 more dates, or hey, I've really cherished our time. Like I really put out the energy and effort to see if this works, but it didn't. This kind of turned me off because even in like this dating sector, I feel like there's not etiquette of like, how do we like disperse? How do we say this does not work? Where a lot of people don't have to be ghosts. Now, obviously, I'm saying this and doing this if people have a lot of intentions and intentionality to get better, because I don't think currently right now in America we do a good job with heartbreak. It's always get back culture. It's always revenge. It's always, and I think with the intentions of dating change is like when we do the hard things. The hard things is sitting down and saying, I don't think this is going to work, or actually going through this 3-date process with really good prospects. And when I say really good prospects, maybe not totally being turned off if you're totally icked out by someone. Obviously, we have to be safe and there's boundaries and standards, but like really giving people an opportunity to really build rapport with you. Now, obviously, we got to be safe in the dating world, but we don't clean up this singledom problem unless we do something different. Doing something different is, how can I meet them where they're at? How can I change my standards? How can I, let my standards not be so high that I'm unreachable? How can I be flexible? So I'll just reiterate this and I'll end with this saying that, dating is hard. Dating is difficult, but you make it like that. The only way it gets better is when you change how you are navigating and moving. And if you move differently, you're going to get different results. So I want to really, really push you all to follow this 3-day strategy. And 3-day strategy, just remember, there's going to be a high stake, low stake, and a chill stake. It's important to really build rapport with someone before you truly say that they're not for you. We're going to make mistakes when we date. We're going to say the wrong things. We might say the right things. But I think it's important to build that with that person, whether it works out or not. You gained an opportunity to really grow and empower yourself to be a better human and take that into the dating process, into marriage, and vice versa. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to find that person. And finding that person takes us being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there. When you put yourself out there, that's just you one step closer to your ultimate goal, and that's finding who you want to be and who you want to be with. So I'm Rob. Hopefully this helped you out. And if it didn't, comment below. Let me know if I can get better. Hey, if y'all want to know what a low stake, high stake, and a chill stake type of date is, I can definitely go more in depth with that. Just let me know. But until next video.